Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with some of my best tips for panning lip products. I am going to do a little mini series here with kind of like some tips again on panning, what I do to try to get as much progress as I can, how I make progress on my products, and things like that. And I've decided to split it into 3 videos just because I feel like some categories you have specific things for, like specific tips. Some of them obviously will kind of overlap, and those 3 categories are lip products today, we have eyeshadows, and then we have everything else. So those are the videos I'm going to do in this series. Again, I'm trying not to overlap them too much, so this video specifically is going to be a lot focused on lip products, and I tried again to focus the tips in here on like lip product specific tips, whereas like I'm gonna do like more general tips, I guess, in the everything else category. So there might be some tips in there too that might apply to lip products, but I wanted to keep this video purely on lip products and how I get progress on them. So I'm gonna jump into the video, but before I do so, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So I do have my lip products I'm currently panning here. It's not all of them, but I do have them in here just because it's easy accessible for me. It's right on the side. You actually might see it there in the background normally. But yeah, this is kind of like the lip products that I'm panning at the moment. So how do I get progress on them? So the first tip that I have is reapplication. So one of my absolutely biggest tips when it comes to panning lip products is just remember to reapply, because I notice a huge difference if I don't reapply. Of course, I mean, it kind of makes sense if you think about it, but with lip products specifically, it is something that you can reapply throughout the day. Yes, you know, other makeup categories you might be able to, like powder, like right now I'm a little bit shiny, so I could apply a powder before heading down to film this, stuff like that. But you know, eyeshadow you don't really reapply throughout the day. Yes, maybe if you're going out like for dinner after work or something like that, you might top it up a little bit, but in general the product category that you can reapply the most is lip products. So for example, I've been filming for a while. I filmed another video before this and I just had this makeup on for a little bit. So right now, for example, is a good chance to reapply my lipstick. And that's it. Just remember to reapply, because when you do, every time you do, that's one more use. And you know, if you only apply it like once in the morning for like a full week, that's 7 uses. But if you make sure to reapply throughout the day, like maybe if you had your morning coffee, that would be 2, like initially in the morning, after morning coffee, after lunch maybe, after your afternoon coffee, however many coffees you have in a day, or you know, just drinking water or whatever, depends also on the formula, of course. And then maybe once more in the evening, before you head out for your plans or whatever. You get my drift. That would be 5 uses in just one day. So then for a week, if you can remember to do that, you all of a sudden, instead of having 7 uses, have 35 uses, which is so much higher. And this is something that I still need to get better at remembering, especially, you know, if I'm working from home and stuff like that. I don't really reapply very often, unless it's like a hydrating type of lip product, like my lip glosses, things like that, because I don't know, I just forget. I used to be better at it, but I don't do it as often. I usually apply it again when I do my makeup, because I'm sitting at my desk and I'm doing like my full face. Then I do it, but especially working from home, I'm a little bit bad at it myself, but that is honestly one of my top tips, and it can really increase your, you know, progress on things, because you're getting, you know, if you reapply again 5 times, well, you apply it 5 times throughout the day instead of just 1, you're getting 5 times as much progress every single month. So I hope that makes sense, but that is my tip number 1. And then for the second tip, which goes kind of hand in hand with this, I know some people do this, some people don't. It's a little bit of a preference, but if you do project panning and you count your uses, which is something that I definitely recommend doing, because I feel like it's very motivating, especially if you're a numbers person like me. But the second tip is to tally reapplications, because I found that if I tally my reapplications, I'm more motivated to reapply. Yes, you do eventually see the progress, but initially you know, if you do that reapplication, you're like, oh, that's not going to make a difference on my like my paper, my tracking paper, or in the tube or whatever. Just one more application is not going to do any good. However, if you do track the reapplications, you get to like almost tick that off. You almost get like a little golden star in your tracking with that extra use. And I feel like also that's a bit more, for me at least, accurate when it comes to usage. I know this is not for everyone. I know some people find it, you know, a bit of a hassle, stuff like that. But for me personally, I do find that like makes a massive difference, because I just feel so much more motivated to reapply. And again, it comes back to that initial tip, which is huge, and that is again one of the main things that you need to do to get progress. You just need to use your products more, I guess. That is how you get the progress on them. So yeah, tally your reapplication is definitely another tip, which I definitely recommend doing. And am going to do another video on, like, because I'm pre-filming a little bit. This is actually filmed before my baby arrives, but I'm going to pre-film these videos for when my baby has arrived, so I don't have to worry about videos for the initial couple of weeks. So I'm going to do another video on how I organize my like panning, my spreadsheets, my makeup spreadsheets, and like how I track my panning. So I'll talk you through that a little bit more. But if you're a pen and paper type of gal when it comes to tracking progress, and you know, your tally marks, things like that, I would in that case maybe just make a note on your phone. That's where I have my notes for this video, but just make a note. It can be like makeup for today, and then you can throughout the day just write down what you use. So same thing, you know, if you don't have time to tally on your piece of paper in the morning when you do your makeup, you can just like write down what you use. And let's say I write down the lipstick I use. If I reapply it, I can just put a little number next to it, so I know how many times I applied it throughout the day. That's a quick little tip that I would kind of recommend if you struggle with tallying your usage, just because you're using a pen or paper, you don't always have that with you. Most likely you're gonna have your phone with you if you go somewhere, if you're in the office, stuff like that. But yeah, that is tip number 2. So tip number 3 is more kind of related to specific shades. So if you want to pan kind of brighter or non-favorite shades, I would also recommend rolling in easier everyday products. To kind of both, for 2 reasons, both to mix with those harder to use shades, but also to use on those like I'm not fussed kind of days. So if you have days where you don't want to fuss with your lip products, you just want something simple, something that you know will go with every single look, you have those options in there too. So for example, the lip product that I'm wearing right now is a little bit brighter. Yeah, it's this coral color shade here. So I'm gonna apply this one on my hand. I'm gonna apply it actually twice so you can see. So that is the shade. It's one of the bright ones that I have currently in my project. I have been slowly kind of rolling out the super bright ones. But yeah, this is like still quite a bright one again on my lips right now. But then I also have a lipstick like this, which is my Milani Matte Naked lipstick. This is a more nudie type of shade. It is a matte formula as well, but you can see it down here. So what you can do then is, if you kind of mix those 2 shades together, it will create a more muted version of like that shade. I think this one is a bit sheer, so it's a hard, especially I think on camera it's not showing up as much. Let me build it up a little bit more. But yeah, hopefully you can see right there that that is like the bright version of it. This is it mixed with that kind of nudier shade, so you can easily get more use out of your products if you mix them like that, especially if you mix them with like an everyday type of shade and formula. So that's something that is really useful. I know mixing is a little bit more of a hassle, but I feel like you can just bring them, both of them, to work, or if you're going out for the day, and as long as you have a mirror, you can kind of make sure that they're mixed properly. Especially for like shiny formulas like this, it's quite easy to mix, but I know some formulas are harder to mix than others. But even if you just want to alternate, so you have like a brighter option and then like again an easier option, you have that too. But yeah, mixing them does really help, because that shade is beautiful. And I don't know if I actually mixed these 2 on my lips, but I definitely need to, because I feel like that is a beautiful shade. So that is another tip that is really useful, and it makes it easier to use up those like harder to reach for shades, especially if you're like me. And right now my main focus for kind of what I like emphasizing in my makeup is my eyeshadow. I use Love eyeshadow so much. Then my lip products are usually a bit more neutral. So having, I just realized by the way I have a red, so that's a lie that that is my brightest shade, but a red is a bit harder to like mix. But that's beside the point. Anyway, I'm a little bit rambling this video I feel like, but it's fun. It's all fun and games. But yeah, it just makes it way more variable, and you have an option to like use those. It's easier to use those like brighter shades that you might not want as much. It's basically the gist of what I'm saying. And if you like me, you don't like wearing bright lips as much as you used to, but you still have a lot of them in your collection, that is a really, really useful tip. Then tip number 4, I only have 5. So fourth, second last tip is keep a hydrating lip product next to you during the day / evening. So for example, if you work at a desk right behind me, keep it there. If you sit on the sofa, keep it like right next to you on the sofa table. And yeah, stuff like that. Just keep it near you wherever you sit chilling. So again, what I do is I have, you know, is my desk here with my lip products. So I have some hydrating kind of products here, but I also usually bring one in with me on the sofa. So if I feel like my lips are dry, if I can tell that my current lip product has worn off, again, goes back to the reapplication thing. I don't have to like get up and get my lip product. It is right there, and I can just easily throw it on. It works better with like, again, those sheer formulas, but if used at home, it's not like the end of the world. If like it goes a little bit messy, but I would definitely do it more for like hydrating formulas. Just because that's the main reason I do apply it, reapply, is because to keep like the hydration in my lips. It's almost like considered lip balm even though it's colored. Like even this formula right now is very slippy, it's very kind of soft feeling on the lips. I really like it. It feels very quenched on my lips, even though it's a brighter kind of shade. But then that like Milani lipstick, that is a matte, so I wouldn't really use it for that because that's not really hydrating, and it defeats the purpose of having like a hydrating lip products nearby. So instead of reaching for lip balm, reach for like your lip oils, lip glosses, hydrating lipsticks in the evenings when you're at home. If you wear makeup, great. If you don't wear makeup, I still do it. And again, that really helps with the reapplication and everything and the usage. And you know, it all comes together and comes down to the amount of times you reapply. And similar to that as well, by the way, is just keep your lip products near you. So again, I do have this tray, so I always have the products that I'm panning out, and that makes it much easier for me to reach for them. So again, in the morning when I am doing my makeup, I'm more likely to reach one of these than pull out my drawer and pick something from that drawer, just because these are already on my desk. So that is also something really useful, not just like for reapplication throughout the day, but just when you do your makeup as well. And I realized that I already kind of spoken about my 5th goal, or my 5th tip, which is mix lip products. I already demonstrated, I already talked about it, but that is again my 5th tip. It does go hand in hand again with the kind of alternating brighter and more neutral lip products, and that's why I spoke about it already. But honestly, mixing your lip products is great, so definitely do that. You know, I mean, this is a good example. It makes like a peachy nude. You can also use like a bright pink, like a, you know, a baby kind of pink. Mixing that with a brown can make like a pink tone nude, for example. Anything like that. Just play around with it. You can play around with like on this in your hand. You can play around with on your lips. But I have found that that's really helpful again to get those more difficult shades out. And since I already kind of spoke about that, let me throw in a bonus tip as well, and that is to multitask your lip products. And this is something that I do, which I have not always done, but I do a lot now, and that is using lip products as, or lipsticks necessarily, like basically lipsticks. It doesn't really work with lip glosses or maybe lip liners or liquid lipsticks, but lipsticks specifically, use them as cream blush. I do that. I'm very blushy, but I'm wearing powder blush on top as well. So what I do personally, I look crazy when I do my makeup, by the way, when I do this, but I do my eyeshadow. I always do my eyeshadow first, but then when I start my base, I start off by applying lipstick right here. I blend it out, and then I go in with my color corrector on my eyes, and then my foundation. And for my foundation, I kind of like start off like around my nose and like my T-zone area where I have a lot of redness. I even out here, and then just whatever I have left on my sponge. I don't really go in with lots more products. I just kind of blend out the edges of that cream blush. So it mellows it out a little bit, but it doesn't cover it. It just mellows it out and blends it in with the foundation. And it makes it really glowy, really beautiful. And you can stop there if you want, but of course I am panner. I'm panning blushes too. Blushes and lipsticks are both problem categories in my collection, so I reach for them a lot. So what I do is then, you know, I set my face and then I go in with my powder blush on top, and that's what I've done today. Again, I deliberately went very heavy with it today, but you can go lighter. It doesn't always show up this kind of bright, and I think something like this would be perfect because it is quite like glossy and it also blends out very nicely. So if I blend that out on my hand, you can see like how beautiful that is, and it's a like it would be beautiful as a cream blush. I haven't reached for that one yet because currently I am reaching for this one, which is my Burberry lipstick in, what is this one called? Tea Rose. It's like a pink tone shade. That is currently what I'm trying to focus on to get out. And again, if I blend that out, you can see it's not that intimidating. It's a great base for a blush, and again, especially if you go around the edges with a foundation kind of sponge brush, whatever tool you use. So that is going to be my last tip and the main part of this video. Again, I will have another 2 parts of this up. Next one I will do is eyeshadows, so we'll talk about my top tips with panning eyeshadows, and then I will do everything else, which I think the everything else category will be a little bit overlapped with the other 2. But I still wanted to separate them because a lot of the tips that I gave in this video is specific for lip products. So I hope you enjoyed this little video and the mini series that I'm doing. If you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up so I know that you want to see the rest of the series. Let me know if you have any other tips down below, both because I want to know any tips I can have to pan my products faster. Please feel free to give me them because anything helps, and also so other people can check them out too. So if you're just wanting more tips, make sure to check out the comments and hopefully you guys help each other out. But yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing day and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye guys.